So joined by a friend of everybody, Kevin Collopy, here in North Carolina. What are you working on right now?
Well, Rob, thanks for having me back. It's wonderful to be back on. Getting ready this afternoon to speak on a presentation that's really 2 years in the making. I think many people remember the name Sean Kivlian. A little over 2 years ago, it started with a phone call. He said, "Hey, you interested in doing some work doing trauma training in Ukraine?" Not knowing any better, I said, "Are you joking? Like, is this for real?" And 2 years later, we have trained over 1,000 pre-hospital providers, 5,000 clinicians across the country, and have had 2.7 million views on translated videos, all focused on providing just-in-time trauma care to the Ukrainian health system.
So Ukraine, we actually have been working with Ambulances for Ukraine. The American Ambulance Association is sponsoring them, and we're trying to help get vehicles over there. Obviously, that's the vehicle side, and you're providing the medics to go in them then.
Yes, so we aren't providing actual medics. What we are doing is we are taking
providing the training.
The training,
Yeah,
yes.
right.
So what happened in the onset of the war is many of the existing paramedics were also working for the military. So they were brought to the front lines. Other EMS systems and their ambulance providers were brought to the front lines, leaving a vacuum behind of appropriately trained providers. And at the same time, we've seen a huge influx of injured civilians. Through February 15th of this year, there have been over 19,000 civilian casualties because of the war. So there's been a huge need for trauma training for everyone who is now working on the ambulances. So we were ultimately hired through International Medical Corps from the Ukrainian Ministry of Health to provide this training for pre-hospital providers, physicians in the hospital, nurses in the hospital, and we've created 7 core streams. And today I'm going to be talking about the pre-hospital arm of that program.
Wow. Now, have you been over to Ukraine yourself?
I was over there in January.
And so, what are your impressions? I mean, not only of the training you've delivered, but actually, the morale of the people, and the state of the place, really.
So Ukraine is probably one of the most beautiful countries I've visited. The people are some of the most passionate and positive and resilient individuals you could possibly meet. I was there for 10 days, in country for 8 days. During that time, I was woken up at night because of all country air raid sirens 5 times. I felt the fatigue on me in a week of that.
Right.
The folks I was teaching how to teach our program have been dealing with that for 2 years. And they're still positive. They're still looking out for their country. They still believe in maintaining their independence, and they will do anything to help each other. And it's probably one of the most inspiring groups you could possibly work with in the world right now.
Wow, that's remarkable. And obviously the program continues.
Yes. So we started this program through Harvard Humanitarian Initiative with the end in mind. So we knew if we went over, created a bunch of classes, did a bunch of training, we would have an impact. But what happens when we leave? What happens when the courses are over? And so from the beginning, we wanted to create something sustainable. So we've had 4 phases of our program. And in the first phase, we were over teaching. During that time, we were looking at our Ukrainian partners through our translators and trying to pick out who would be good instructors. In phase 2, we started training those instructors and having them teach our courses. In phase 3, which ended in January when I was there, we had our Ukrainian faculty teaching with our American instructors, monitoring, listening, really providing support and guidance, but still running the classes. Now in phase 4, our Ukrainian faculty are teaching independently. They're running the courses, they're planning the courses, and we're just there on the sidelines in case any hiccups come up. And really watching them, and now when the program ends and we really aren't there anymore, these courses will continue to be taught and to continue to have impact on both the providers and the patients throughout the country.
Wow. Well, thank you for what you're doing there. Clearly, it's making a big difference. You mentioned Sean Kivlian.
Yes.
And I've got Kevin Collopy here, of course. One of the other things you're famous for in the United States is developing and bringing on the next generation of national conference speakers in Stand and Deliver. And actually, we've spoken about it before, we've podcasted about it before, we've written about it before. I never tire of it. Is it coming back this year?
Stand and Deliver will be back at EMS World Expo in Las Vegas this fall. We are thrilled for it to be coming back and thrilled for this year's sponsor, the International College of Advanced Practice Paramedics. They were thrilled at the opportunity to have to participate in sponsorship of it. Once again, there will be 4 rounds, so 16 potential new speakers who have never spoken before at conferences. And then the winner of this year's conference will be speaking at EMS World Expo in 2025. If you can already believe we're talking about Expo 25.
Wow. Now, we've had some amazing winners that have gone on to actually have some great, speaking opportunities around the country. But pick out some of the winners and, where have they gone on to from there?
So I think one of our winner for this year, Miss Conley, who's going to be speaking at EMS World Expo in Las Vegas, she's probably one of my favorites because she could have presented 2 years ago.
Yep.
She was the runner-up at Stand and Deliver 2022 and was just nudged out by another phenomenal speaker. And she came back this year, she polished, she worked on it again, and just blew our socks off a second time in a row. And her tenacity in coming back, wanting to get better, applying the lessons learned from the judges that were giving her feedback, really showed us that our next generation of EMS educators is in good hands. And that when we kind of hang up the microphones and we pass the baton aside, we've got even better speakers tomorrow than we've had today. So I think of all the great speakers that are out there today, the people I want to aspire to be like, the Ray Baryshantskys, the Matt Savatskys. Next year's generation is going to have even better speakers.
Excellent. So better than the edutainer that is Ray Baryshantski. I look forward to seeing that one, but we love you, Ray. I was actually a judge on her heat and then the final, obviously, last year, and I'm looking forward to seeing these folk that have come through speak at main conferences, and that's exciting.
Yes, and it works out. Rebecca is in her hometown, so she doesn't have to travel very far in Las Vegas. She's actually from there and works in the EMS system there. And I have a feeling you guys will see her at conferences for years to come.
Rebecca Carmody, by the way, and spoiler alert, actually from my front door to the back of the convention center is a 10-minute commute for me. So I'm looking forward to it even more than anybody else.
Might take longer for me to get from my hotel to the convention center.
I think it will. Anyway, Kevin, thank you so much. Final Rob question as always. Anything I need to ask you or anything you've forgotten to tell me?
Just that we are really excited to begin talking about the Ukrainian story.
Yep.
We'll be presenting on this topic at the Metrolina EMS conference in a couple of weeks at FAST 2024, which is in my hometown, Wilmington, North Carolina. And Sean and I will be co-presenting on it at EMS World Expo. So if you'd like to learn about the project, please come to one of the conferences, come hear about it, and I'll give Rob the website link so you could look up the
details in the show notes.
Yep.
As always. And actually, while you're here, do a plug for future speakers that might want to come and do Stand and Deliver.
Yes. So
look over there and tell them.
If you want the opportunity to come speak at a national EMS conference, but you've never quite been able to get through the door, Stand and Deliver is your opportunity to get spotted by some of our expert speakers across the country and throughout the world. Sign up for Stand and Deliver 2024 in Las Vegas, Nevada during EMS World Expo. You do have to be an attendee of the conference. You also have to never have spoken at a national EMS conference before. So we truly are looking for the novice up-and-coming speakers. Registration for Stand and Deliver will open sometime in July on the EMS World Expo website. So watch our social media, watch the website, watch for information to come out for it, and come have a wonderful time and walk away. Whether or not you're the winner, you will be a better speaker because of the feedback you get.
Excellent. And there's an amazing British judge every year as well. So
I think we're going to have him back this year.
Great. Indeed. Kevin, thank you very much. Always a pleasure. And
thank you.
Back to you.